I've had a new aha moment, a new way of thinking of things. What if I wasn't being destroyed? What if you're not being destroyed? What if we're being deepened? I was being deepened is actually much more powerful than I was being destroyed. Because the wilderness doesn't necessarily mean that God is taking things from you. It meant he was taking you deeper than the version of you that entered it. It's like spiritual retooling. You may have already learned how to survive certain things. You had already developed the tools you had at that point in your life, and you did the best you could with understanding emotional maturity, wisdom, and faith that you possessed at the time. But then God allowed you to enter a place where those old tools weren't enough anymore. And I'm sure it was painful. It was painful for me. For me, I lost my children again. I experienced rejection. I experienced anger. I experienced bitterness. I found myself looking into a very dark place emotionally. But instead of God leaving me there, he began showing me what was still inside of me that needed to be transformed. I thought I was being broken, but I was being deepened. The wilderness teaches you. You learn forgiveness at a level that you could have never learned without being hurt. It's easy to talk about forgiveness when nobody has done anything to you or wounded you. When you're angry, when you feel robbed of something precious, that is where forgiveness becomes something you actually have to practice. You become more compassionate. Your suffering gives you the ability to look at other people's pain, and you don't just see someone's behavior anymore. You understand that there's a story underneath it. You become more loving without needing everything to be fair first. You learn that love isn't always dependent upon receiving what you think you deserve. You become kinder. The very people and circumstances that could have hardened you become an opportunity for God to soften you. And you learn that bitterness can become a prison. I saw myself beginning to fall into a dark place, and I recognized that if I stayed there, the thing that was happening to me would begin changing who I was. And I didn't want my pain to become my identity. I learned that surviving something isn't the same as being transformed by it. And I have survived hard things before, but God wasn't merely teaching me how to survive another storm. He was changing the person who would eventually walk out of the storm. I learned that my old tools had limitations. And I wasn't necessarily a bad person because I didn't know how to handle things perfectly. I was working with what I had, and maybe you are too. But God wasn't content to leave me with the same tools forever. And maybe that's the part of the wilderness that we don't talk about enough. Sometimes God brings us into a desert because we're going to need different tools for the next assignment. The wilderness is where he teaches us what prosperity never could. It's where patience gets developed. It's where forgiveness gets tested. It's where pride gets exposed. It's where bitterness gets confronted, and where our dependence on people gets replaced with dependence on God. Where our reactions get transformed into responses. Where we stop asking, why is this happening to me? And we eventually begin asking, God, what are you developing in me through this? The trial wasn't proof that God abandoned you. It was evidence that he was preparing you for something you weren't equipped for yet. You did the best with the tools you had at the time. And there's grace in that realization. You don't have to hate the person you were because you didn't have the tools you have now. You were trying. You were surviving. You were making decisions with the understanding that you had at the time. And now God has taken you through the wilderness and said, I'm going to give you new tools. Not because the old was worthless, but because what's next requires a deeper you. You didn't just come out of the valley with your circumstances changed. You came out changed. That's the testimony. I lost my children again, and I could have became bitter. I could have became angry. I could have decided that everybody owed me something. I could have allowed what happened to me to turn me into someone I didn't recognize. God met me in the wilderness. He didn't immediately change my circumstances. He changed me. He deepened me. He softened me. He taught me forgiveness. He taught me compassion. He taught me love. He taught me kindness. He showed me where my old tools weren't enough. He began retooling me for whatever he has next. The wilderness wasn't where I was being destroyed. It was where I was being developed. I love you guys.